Welcome to my channel, everyone. I'm Lazy Larry, and if you want to know how I got the nickname Lazy Larry and why I use it, I did a video earlier saying, "Hi, I'm Lazy Larry," and I explained how I got the nickname. I got it in high school, never used it again until I used it on my started for my channel, and I'll tell you why I started using it for my channel. Now, I'm going to talk about my earlier childhood. I had some people that said they wanted to know a little bit more about my life. So we're going to go back, and my siblings told me I lived in about 18 houses by the time I was 12, going on 13. Now I don't remember all of them. I do remember 10, the last 10 before I turned 13 years old. I remember those houses. Now I come from a family of 7 kids, 4 girls and 3 boys. I have 3 older sisters. I had an older brother. I had a younger brother, and I got a younger sister. And yes, I said had on my brothers. My older brother died at 37. My younger brother at 59. My dad died at 61. My mom is still alive. This is April 2022, and she's 96 years old. Now, I don't remember, like I said, the first 8 houses. I was born in Lafayette, so there was one, but I don't remember it. I was 3 months old when they moved back to Terre Haute. Out of the 7 kids, I'm the only one not born in Terre Haute. I was the only one born in Lafayette. That was where my dad was from, that area. My mom is from the Terre Haute area. So now, by the time we moved back to Terre Haute later on, before my 7th grade year, my father went on total disability. So that also affected my life. Now, like I said, the first house I do remember, I was around 4 years old. We lived on 25th Street right off of Linden. We lived next door to a family called the Mitchells. At this time, there was only 5 kids. I was the 5th one. My mom had 2 miscarriages about this time, and my oldest sister was the one that was taking care of me more than anybody else. And my father was a truck driver cross country. He came off the road and started working local to help out with as much as he could with the family. But like I said, we lived next door to the Mitchells. Brian was my age, and they had 16 kids. So like I said, 5, we were a small family. Now, we moved from there to 27th Street, also just off of Linden. And my next door neighbor to my left I had a kid named Rick who was a year younger than me. He was taller than me, but most kids at that time, anywhere near my age, was taller than me. Now, on the other side of me was a girl named Dixie. She was my age, and we went to kindergarten together. Now, this is the second house I remember, and it's the first school I went to. I went to 6 different elementary schools. Now, like I said, it was Maple Avenue, and that back end kindergarten was only half a day, so I went half a day. And to my chagrin, it was the first half because I couldn't watch Captain Kangaroo. I hated that. Now, after about a little less than halfway through, in November, my younger brother was born. My mother started feeling better and started coming out of depression. My father went back to work cross country, and I remember, that. And also during this time frame, they were having a house built for us in Springwood, which is outside the city limits quite a ways, in the north end. But it was when they started building the house, there was 5, and by the time we moved in, like I said, there were 6, 3 boys and 3 girls. The girls all being older. Now, after we moved into that house, I ended up going to Otter Creek Elementary School. Like I said, Otter Creek Elementary School. I went there for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. When we lived in Springwood, I went to 1st and 2nd grade. Now, we moved from Springwood to Sycamore. Now, Sycamore was quite a bit closer to Otter Creek Elementary School. Matter of fact, it was close enough I could walk. It was only a few blocks. And we lived on Sycamore for a while. Then during the school year, we moved from there around the corner next to the Otter Creek High School. It was still close enough to walk to school. Now, while I was in Otter Creek, my best friend's name was Bernard. I believe it was Freeze or Fries. I knew a kid, two kids. One was Freeze and one was Fries. I can't remember which one Bernard was. He and I both liked to fight. We considered it play. So every time a teacher would leave, we'd get in a fight in the classroom, and they'd come back in and have to break us up. And all the teachers thought we hated each other, and our mothers and thought we were in love with each other because all we ever talked about was the other kid at home. Well, being a hellion and not a very studious student, I got kept back in third grade. So I had to repeat third grade. But we had moved, after third grade, my first year in third grade, we moved down to 22nd Street, just off of Margaret. That's in the south end of Terre Haute. It was actually in the city limits. And that I went to Montrose for the first half of third grade. So after Montrose, we really loved the house down there in the south end. It was a great house, really nice neighbors, safe neighborhood. But there was a coke plant not too far away, and coke is the type of fuel that they convert coal into, and the process causes a really bad smell. Now, my dad was driving cross country most of the time when we first moved down there. The wind was blowing away towards the coke plant, not towards us, so we never smelled it. And my dad came home one time off the road, and he could smell the coke plant, and he did not like the smell. The neighbors were going, "Don't worry, Carl, you'll get used to it. It's not that bad." And my dad said, "No, I'm not home enough to get used to it, and I really don't want to get used to it. I don't like the smell." So we moved back up just outside of the city limits on the north end again. This time we lived at 13th and a half Street, and I went to Terrytown. Now, Terrytown had this educational program on TV, and in third grade I took Spanish along with the rest of my class. It was not my choice, it was part of their curriculum. And in fourth grade it was French. So I had about a half a year of Spanish and a half a year of French in grade school. Now, notice that was my fourth school. Now, to finish fourth grade, we moved down to 27th and Maple. Notice I said Maple, so I'm back at Maple Avenue Elementary. And I finish up fourth grade. Now, after fourth grade, before fifth grade, on my sister Ruth Ann's birthday, we moved to a little place called Casey, Illinois. Now, Casey's about 5,000 people. You might call it a village, or you might call it a town. It's up to you. It was only about 5,000 people. It was a great little city or town. I would call it a town. I could run all over the town, and my mom and dad never worried about me. And if I got in too much trouble, they knew about it before I got home. Everybody seemed to know everybody. So anyway, we moved. The first house we moved into, my dad said, "Don't bother unpacking. This place is not suited for us," and it wasn't. It was way too small for our family. So about a month, we lived there for about a month, and then we moved to 11th Street. And then at 11th Street, I started school at Roosevelt, my fifth elementary. I went all fifth grade, but I didn't live on 11th Street the whole time. We moved from 11th to, I want to say Delaware, then Jefferson, but it could have been the reverse. But the second street we lived on, third street we actually lived on, was still in Roosevelt School District. So like I said, I went all of fifth grade and part of sixth in Roosevelt. Then the last street we moved to, the last house there in Casey, I went to Monroe, finished off sixth grade in Monroe. Now between sixth and seventh grade, we moved back to Terre Haute, Indiana on my sister Ruth Ann's birthday. And my dad at this time went on total disability just before we moved back. That's one of the reasons why we moved back to Terre Haute. He was a truck driver, and back in those days they helped load and unload their own truck. He lifted something wrong, and he was never able to pick up more than 20 pounds without getting sick again. Now my dad went from about 6'3", 258 pounds down to 150 in 3 months. Yeah, he really tore himself up. And I'm convinced this is what led to his death at 61, which was 14 years later. He was only 47 when he went on total disability. We moved back to Terre Haute. It was 28th and Beach Street, and we lived there until I went in the Navy. Actually, I was in the Navy before they sold it, but they put it up for sale before I joined. Before I went in, and while I was in boot camp, they sent me a letter telling me the new address and the new phone number and when to start using all that stuff. And I think I'll break it off there. Like I said, it's not trying to get everything in, but you all take care now. Stay safe, stay healthy, and try to have fun. Bye.